The time is 6:15. Here is the news, edited by Dilini Gunawardana, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. The Cabinet approves a proposal to change the frequency of power tariff revisions to every 3 months. Early landslide warnings are issued to 11 districts of the island. Plans are underway to upgrade the quality of the public health sector. The bus priority lane rule will come into effect from tomorrow. The third term of the government-approved private schools will commence tomorrow. Foreign news, Israel reports large battles with Hamas in Gaza Strip. Sports news, Cricket World Cup. The match between Bangladesh and India is currently underway. Local news in detail. The Cabinet has approved a proposal to change the frequency of power tariff revisions from every 6 months to every 3 months. Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Bandula Ganabadhan told reporters at a weekly Cabinet press briefing today that President Ranil Wickremesinghe, in his capacity as Minister of Finance, together with Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijesekara, had proposed the amendment. This was taken into consideration the inconvenience the public has to confront due to the state-run Ceylon Electricity Board following the existing 6 months monthly revision. The minister further added that discussions with relevant stakeholders are underway to formulate a new employment act in hope of reforming the labour laws to facilitate an export-oriented economy. The Cabinet has approved a proposal to implement a power dispatch audit of the Ceylon Electricity Board and strengthen hydroelectricity forecasting with the assistance of the Department of Meteorology so that general public guidelines already implemented can be revised. The NBRO has issued several early landslide warnings to several areas of the island. Accordingly, Level 2 warnings have been issued to Tumpane in the Kandy district, Laggala, Pallegama in Madhuri district and Ratnapura, Kolanna, Godakavela, Veligapala, Kuruvita, Kalavana, Imbulpe, Balangoda, Alapatha, Opanayaka and Ahaliagoda in Ratnapura districts. Level 1 warnings have been issued to Haputale and Haldamulla in Badula district, Seethavak in Colombo district and Niyagama, Baddegama, Alpitia, Gol, Fogravets, Akmimana, Ambalangoda, Bope, Poddala, Neluva, Imaduva, Tavalama, Nagoda and Yakalamulla in the Gol district. Walasmulla, Beliata, Okebela and Katuana in the Hambantara district. Valallavita and Ingiriya in the Kalutara district, Yatinavara and Ududumbara in the Kandy district and Ruanvella, Bulatkohupitiya, Galigamua, Dehiovita and Kagal in the Kagala districts are also under Level 1 warnings. Level 1 warnings are applicable to Mavatagama, Ridigama and Polgahavela in Kurunagara districts, Pasguda, Mathara, Fogravets, Tihagoda, Baligapitiya, Akuressa, Kamburupitiya, Pitabaddara, Athuruliya, Mulatiana, Kotapula, Malimbada, Kirinda, Puhulvela and Hakmana in Mathura districts and Kiriyala, Kahavatta, Nivitigala, Ayagama and Palmarulla in the Ratnapura districts. The warnings will be effective till 3 p.m. tomorrow. Minister of Health Dr. Ramesh Patirana emphasized his prime goal is to increase the reliability of the public health sector of the island. It is not difficult to upgrade the quality of the health sector when equipped with the proper vision. He said that he is determined to make relevant changes in the sector as required. The minister made these remarks at a discussion held with the government medical officers held in the ministry today. The professional dignity of the government medical officers should be upheld while joining hands to develop the health sector. The Secretary of the Government Medical Officers Association, Dr. Harita Alutge, appreciated that an experienced professional has been appointed as the Ministry of Health. Emoluments, transport, allowance and promotions of the doctors were also some matters taken into discussion. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news. Police said that arrangements have been made to implement the bus priority lane rule starting tomorrow, and a 2-week period will be granted for bus drivers to adhere to the rule. This bus priority lane will come into effect during office rush hours in the mornings and evenings. Accordingly, vehicles in Gold Road must enter the priority lane from near the Savoy Cinema, Vellavatta, between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. and should proceed towards Colombo Fort through Gold Road. Another priority lane rule will come into effect between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. from Maradana, Borella Junction to Olcott Mouth in Colombo Fort. The same lane will operate between 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. as an exit. The priority lane will allow the operations of vehicles such as buses of the Sri Lanka Transport Board, private buses, school buses, school vans, office transport buses and vans. Vehicles except those stated above will not be permitted to enter the priority lane during these given times. Meanwhile, the traffic police have been advised to issue warnings during this time to drivers who break this law. Minister Nalin Fernando took part in the bilateral discussion with the delegation of the European Parliament at the Ministry of Commerce today. The GSP Plus agreement was taken into discussion. In addition, attention was paid to further expansion of the economic and commercial affairs between the two parties. The minister appreciated the contribution of small and medium-scale entrepreneurs in restoring the national economy. He requested the delegation to provide necessary technical assistance to the small and medium-scale entrepreneurs. The delegation commended the economic reforms carried out by the government. That ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Veda Mahatmya.
The third term of the schools of the year 2023 will begin tomorrow. The Ministry of Education announces that this will help to restore the delay caused by the corona pandemic outbreak. Meanwhile, Commissioner General of Examinations said that actions are underway to issue the results of the scholarship examination soon. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Veda Mahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Department of Irrigation announces that the water level of the Attanagaloa is increasing. It may increase into a minor flood situation. The water level of the Attanagaloa in the Dunamali area has increased up to 4.6 meters. In case it exceeds 5 meters, it may result in a flood. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. Israel reports large battles with Hamas in the Gaza Strip. U.S. buys Japan seafood to counter China ban. Indonesia arrests 59 over alleged plots to disrupt presidential election. World news in detail. Israel says there were large exchanges with Hamas in Gaza overnight as its ground offensive continues. The IDF says its forces were attacked by the terrorists with anti-tank missiles and machine gun fire. Airstrikes on the Gaza Strip also continued overnight. Israel says more than 300 targets were hit in total. Israel says it's focusing on northern Gaza but continues to strike all parts of the strip. Hamas says it ambushed 3 Israel vehicles with anti-tank missiles and attacked ground troops with shells in the southern Gaza. Last night, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejected calls for ceasefire in Gaza, saying this was time for war. The U.S. military in Japan has started to buy the country's seafood in response to the Chinese import ban after the release of treated water from the Fukushima nuclear plant. The U.S. ambassador to Japan, Rahm Emanuel, said Washington may also look into other ways to help counter China's ban. He described it as part of Beijing's economic woes. China, which was the biggest buyer of the Japanese seafood, said it barred imports due to safety fears. Indonesian authorities have arrested dozens of people from hardline groups over suspected plots aimed at disrupting next year's presidential election. A spokesperson for Indonesian Counterterrorism Special Detachment Unit said police arrested 59 suspects and seized weapons, propaganda material and bomb-making chemicals. He added that this will serve as a warning that the slightest threat to the domestic security would not be tolerated, specifically in regard to the upcoming election. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Israel reports large battles with Hamas in Gaza Strip. US buys Japan seafood to counter China ban. Indonesia arrests 59 over alleged plot to disrupt presidential election. That ends world news.
Development news.
Representatives from major global agencies and the European Union convened for a roundtable discussion with President Ranil Wickremesinghe, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena and government officials in Colombo today. This meeting was a follow-up to the previous one in December 2022. Officials of the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, International Monetary Fund, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, International Finance Corporation, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, Japan International Cooperation Agency, United States Agency for International Development, the European Union and United States were present. That came to you on Development News.
Sports News is brought to you by Shakti. Refresh your mind and body with Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
The match between Bangladesh and India is currently underway at the Eden Gardens in Calcutta. Bangladesh won the toss and chose to bat first. At the end of 45 overs, Bangladesh were all out for 204 runs. That ends Sports News.
Shakti. Refresh your mind and body with Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
Go ekaktiana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
DFCC Bank proudly marked International Customer Service Week 2023 with a series of events that resonated with this year's theme, Team Service. This celebration, held annually, underscores DFCC Bank's unwavering commitment to exceptional customer service, the spirit of teamwork, and its relentless pursuit of becoming the most customer-centric bank in the country. A series of internal and external events and activities were organized to mark the occasion. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekaktiana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena said discussions with relevant stakeholders are underway to formulate a new employment act. President Ranil Wickremesinghe recently said that Sri Lanka will bring a comprehensive law to regulate labour, adding that the labour movement of the island should be modernized in line with the global trends. That ends economic news.
Weather report.
Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the most provinces of the island after 2 p.m. Showers or thunderstorms will occur in the eastern province during the morning. Fairly heavy showers above 75 mm are likely at some places in the western, Sabaragama, central, southern and Ubud provinces and in the Kurunegala district. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the Sabaragama, central and Ubud provinces during the morning. That ends with the report. To wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. The Cabinet approves a proposal to change the frequency of power tariff revisions to every 3 months. Early landslide warnings are issued to 11 districts of the island. Plans are underway to upgrade the quality of the public health sector. The bus priority lane rule will come into effect from tomorrow. The third term of government and government-approved private schools will commence tomorrow. Foreign news, Israel reports large battles with Hamas in Gaza Strip. Sports news, Cricket World Cup, the match between Bangladesh and India is currently underway. With that, we wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka. Back to my good friend and viewers, Chandima Birakorn.